we got another one. This is an idea to play against the Caro-Kann that is very simple, and it got my attention, and I really, really like it. And I was introduced to the idea from the games of Chess Bra, Eric Hansen. When he's playing Title Tuesday, he's played this on a number of occasions versus the Caro-Kann. And if you're looking for an extremely solid option to play against the Caro-Kann that has no risk to it at all, this is the stuff right here. So let's go ahead and get into what this idea is. Now, e4, c6, knight f3, and here's the key move. And first time I saw it, I thought something was going wrong, or there was some kind of limping into a King's Indian attack or something. No, not at all. Simply d3. And this move says, I just want to go into an endgame and play chess. And sometimes skipping the opening is the best way to go if you understand the structure and where to put your pieces. D takes e4 is by far the number one move played here. But keep in mind that if they don't play D takes e4, the lines are relatively straightforward. And if you've taken a look at our Philidor series, it's simply a colors reverse Philidor position. Say, for instance, after bishop g4, bishop e2, we're still welcoming the queen trade. Still welcoming it. All right, now you're threatening our e-pawn, so we're going to go there. We have our flexible structure in this colors reverse Philidor, where you can look to play b4, you can look to play e5, d4. You got flexibility here, and that's what we like. Now coming back, it also should be noted that g6 here for my Caro-Kann players, that was Mamedyarov's choice against Hansen in a Title Tuesday this year. And it went well for black, but also, you know, Mamedyarov's one of the top players in the world. So he's good. After d3, let's see the main event now. Let's see why I like this opening. It may seem innocuous, but I think it's very interesting. Queen takes, king takes, and you go, well, he's taken away my castling privileges. I've traded queens. I don't get why you would like this. Well, follow along with me, because here is essentially a 16-move win that Eric had in, I believe this was a Title Tuesday game. So let's go ahead and take a look. Knight f6, pretty straightforward. You attack the e-pawn. Now here's the first key moment, because white wants to organize his pieces in a way to be as flexible as possible. Knight bd2 may look logical, but then we could have problems with the f-pawn. Knight fd2 is actually stronger because you want to play this move f3. Now, this structure is very, very solid, and it's keeping black out of this. We see the same kind of deal if I flip it around and we do colors reversed, and we get an old Indian structure, and it works the same way, where black is just going to tuck the nugget away on c7, and this is very, very solid for black. So it's the same kind of structure, different day, as we're getting in f3. You know, c3, king c2 is not far behind. So if you've seen this structure, like I have before, I'm like, okay, well, I understand how to play that with black. I've played that before. I can add this into my repertoire without really having to do any study, which is always a nice little bonus. Well, black plays aggressively with g5. Easy to understand. Knight c4, good flexible square for the knight. Discovery on that g-pawn, so black needs to defend. a4 to secure the knight, a theme that we see in Old Indian, King's Indian. You don't want the b-pawn to be kicking us around without getting some play from that rook. g4, getting the knight out. Takes, takes. Knight a6. White's almost finished development. And already there's some problems in the position. Knight a5, where a6 is being hit by our undeveloped bishop on f1, as well as b7. Castle queenside check. Simply get the king safe. And after king b8, this is a badly missed move by a 2,400 FIDE player. And that's enough because already this position is essentially busted. So, solid play, nothing much to the game, and takes down an international master strength player. So let's look at this main game that I've chosen between Alexenko and Pelletier. And I sincerely apologize if I'm butchering names. It needs to be noted always that I'm from Southeast Alabama, and our accent, yeah, it happens. I absolutely mean no disrespect to anyone or any other culture if I mispronounce your name, so please let me know and I'll always amend it. Always about learning and respecting others. So after king takes d1, bishop g4 was played in this game, as opposed to the knight f6 we saw in the Hansen game. Bishop e2, solid, solid. And now, again, we see this theme of I want f3 and the ideal structure. So knight e1. Trade, trade. King's on a better square in the endgame. f3, we get the ideal structure. So does black. Black knows what's up. Knight d3, knight c5. And if we're going to trade, we're going to trade on our terms. Bishop e3 picking up time. Best square for the bishop in the position. And after bishop d6, knight d2. Coming back to c4. Not in a hurry to grab the bishop. Notice which bishop is good and which bishop is bad in the position. Our bishop is good because it agrees with the central pawn mass in the center. His bishop is bad because it's biting on the pawn mass in the center. So we look forward to endgames where, say for instance, if we could take off all the pieces that are highlighted, our bishop would be better than its counterpart. Rook hc1, the only open file, so the rook travels to the c file for that. a4, getting ready to play against any sort of expansion. And when black doesn't, a5, keeping that knight out, dominating the squares. And since he's out, we get our space. Now we've got an open file to work with, and white wastes no time transitioning to that side of the board, getting off any potential pin from the rook being on the e file. Now that one, I don't know yet. More than likely, it is simply eyeing the weakness and staying flexible to be able to hit different things. And that's why he's a 2700. Rook a d8, bishop d4. And I love that from this very simple, innocuous position, black is able to just be under the steady pressure, just this squeeze. White's just tweaking the position little by little, making his pieces better and getting more and more out of it. After king e7, check. And we transition into a knight versus bishop ending. Tickle on the pawn. Defend d3 because you take on b7, you lose d3. Can't have that. So black defends b7. Logical. So we begin to get rid of that backwards pawn so we don't have to worry about it anymore. And black blows up the position. Takes, 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 takes. In between move, very nice. Hitting b7 as well as we reach this rook and pawn ending. And this is a good place to pause for a moment because the f-pawn's a goner. So we need to be looking to get as much activity as possible here. And the fastest passer is going to be our 2-to-1 special over here on the queen side. We need to get the b-pawn up to be able to run the a-pawn. So b4 is a good place to start. And black is very keen to push his passer as well and keep an eye on that b5 square. King f4, tickle on the rook. Takes on h7. Can't let that passer go much further. And we have enough misdirection that we're able to make the f-pawn be annoying. Long enough, there's no mates if we're in check, to grab the a-pawn. And it's rare that the outside passer is able to work, but he gets the optimal position, and the king is far enough away that we're able to get this trick. a7, queen. And now we begin this endgame, but thank goodness. This is not an endgame that I've mastered. And I think that's something that can be said of many, many strong chess players. It's hard. I know the general themes, but mastery of this ending, just knowing the result, knowing best defense, you have to get a feel for these positions and have a lot of practice with them. And I simply don't. Rook b8 bothering the queen, check. And you stay in close to the rook, and then this is a moment actually after queen d6 that black resigned, because the rook is going to get forced away. And for instance, if rook h8, these are the types of themes that you need to be aware of. Now, as soon as the rook separates from the king, you should be able to find a series of checks, especially when it's a long separation like this, in order to win the rook. So see if you can find one here. This is a pause your video moment if you're that type of person. All right, so let's start off with queen d5 check, and then let's see the different ways to win. If king b8, we will go queen e5. Gotcha. If king c7, queen e5. Gotcha. If king a7, queen d4. Gotcha. So no matter what, and if king c7, queen e5, and gotcha. So hopefully you like this interesting idea. Very slow, very solid against Caro-Kann. Especially if you're playing against somebody like Firouzja, who's an absolute beast and a tactical monster. Maybe something solid and dry like this would be a good option. Just a thought.